Jennifer Chim went to Pakistan as an international businesswoman with the hope in her heart of promoting unity between Chinese, Hong Kong, and Pakistani people. Her one aim was to help the Pakistani people through her compassion. But due to unforgivable misdeeds by scam artists who had posed as fellow businessmen, she was basically raped of her human rights, her dignity, and her honor. Jennifer Chim was scammed. She was dehumanized, she was dewomanized in what has basically become a hate crime against women. To date, Ms. Chim has tried by all legal means to get justice, but has found no answers. She has gone through every channel, and she finds herself as a pawn caught in a political standstill in which no one feels comfortable making the next move. A great, great travesty against Jennifer Chim's human rights has occurred. All she wants is to have her honor restored and the false charges dropped, and for her money to be returned, and for the world to understand that we all could possibly be a victim the same way she has found herself. I became aware of the flagrant violations against Ms. Chim and wanted to help because I realized that the same thing could happen to me. The same thing could happen to you. Our world is getting very small with the internet. Any of us could do business in another country, and any of us could experience the same travesty and miscarriage of justice that Ms. Chim has experienced. So I hope that the world will unite and that they will become aware of her story and support her. We are supporting each other when we support Ms. Chim. She has presented her case to the United Nations, and they do have the documents. They're looking over this, but in many ways writing letters to the Chinese government, Hong Kong government, Pakistani government, as well as the British government would be very helpful, because they are all aware of her case, and they are to know that the people support Ms. Chim would be very, very helpful. It's easy to get many cases and then not get to work, or maybe have other ones take up time. So if the people could write letters to their UN delegates and let them know that they support Ms. Chim, that could help. I think what has really happened is that she has found herself to be a pawn. It's almost a cog in a machine. You know, and people are afraid because of political reasons who should make the next move in helping her. And yet, all 4 nations involved in her case are member states of the United Nations. They all are to hold to the Declaration on Human Rights. And so the violations that she suffered should not have occurred in any of the member states because they had agreed to uphold the declaration. So that makes them liable for any violations that do occur. And she has been brought, that's one reason why the United Nations is interested in her case, particularly because it has the 4 nations involved. So, yeah. Once she was there, she was scammed and then persecuted. She has tried every way to have someone listen, but is finding herself caught as almost like a pawn in a political standstill. No one seems to want to make the next move, and yet this could happen to any of us. Any of us could be in another country, and where would we find help if our human rights were violated? Jennifer ended up being abducted. She was dehumanized. She was disrobed in public. She was placed in an undisclosed location with no help. This could happen to me. I could be in another country. What would I do? I would expect to get help. But as Jennifer found out, she tried, and there was no help for her. So I really feel that the people of the world need to understand this story, and so that we can support each other. Any one of us could be a victim like Jennifer was. The true criminals need to be brought to justice. And that's all in the evidence. Jennifer's honor needs to be restored. And I believe that if her case is looked at, it's a very simple solution that they could come to. It's just a matter of the countries wanting to make the first move and say, let's do what is right.